Director for the Center of Reparation Research at the University of the West Indies, Professor Vereen Shepherd, wants a continued public discussion about removing monuments in our landscape that she describes are a dishonor to our ancestors. As Jamaica marks 182 years since emancipation on August 1, social historian and director of the Center for Reparation Research at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Professor Vereen Shepherd, is calling for long-term planning and vision for Jamaica's post-independence development. Speaking at a JIS think tank session, Professor Vereen Shepherd explained that the popularity of the Black Lives Matter movement has brought forward the long-standing debate surrounding some of Jamaica's monuments and icons.
It's not too late, but I hope that the conversation will intensify, because we are talking about emancipation, but we are talking about emancipation within the context of our icons, our revolutionaries who fought to win emancipation, when some of the people on our landscape were saying no, delay it or never, and we are comfortable with that. That is not something that is comfortable for me.
The professor also gave her opinion on what should happen to these monuments.
I don't think you should throw them into the sea or into the canals or destroy them, because as a historian, I believe in preserving information and documentation, but I don't have to walk past them every day. I don't have to look at them every single day, because this is what our people of African descent are saying in the UK, in South Africa, right across the former colonized world, and in the colonized world still. Because we forget that while we're going to celebrate emancipation for the British colonized Caribbean, they are current colonies of Britain in our space. And so the argument becomes even more important for them. You have to pass every day and look at people who they are telling us are icons and should be celebrated. And that is, I think it's part of our disconnect with our history. And it seems to me as if we are telling children that it's okay, that Columbus must stand, we are flying in the face of our project of emancipation and our attempt to ensure that we don't participate in our own oppression.
She also pointed to schools which were built with funds of former slave owners or family trusts that benefited from them.
Our children deserve the fact that they left money for education, because our ancestors worked very hard for that money that they got out of the plantations, you know? So whether we're talking about Knockpatrick or Rosamond Penn, where they made their money. But I'm saying it's time to say, yes, they left money, as they should. But we don't have to have a national day, let's say a Founders Day at JC, where you celebrate James Drax or Charles Drax or any of their family. And you don't have to have a national, why we have a national day at Woolmer's to celebrate John Woolmer? And the narrative, when you speak to children, they tell you, oh, he was a goldsmith. Yeah, but he also had enslaved people. And there was a headmaster who was an enslaver. So what I'm appealing for as a Jamaican, as a historian, is to say, teach the children the truth. Balance the knowledge that they have been getting about the people who are their founders.
The professor also called for monuments to be built of persons who worked on plantations and those who physically built these educational institutions.
The University of the West Indies is on a former plantation, as we all know. In fact, I think there are 2 plantations bordering, Papine and Mona. But the University of the West Indies, during the bicentennial of the abolition of the transatlantic trafficking in enslaved Africans, when the act was passed anyway, they never really abolished slavery at the time, said We will do research into who the last set of enslaved Africans were on this plantation. We will build monuments to them. And so there are monuments on the Mona campus with the names. And this is the balance that we need. We must stop allowing our children to grow up as disconnected people without roots.